Okay, I hope you were able to read and map that passage. The content can be pretty boring, as is often the case for GMAT reading passages. But if you find yourself spending more time on reading it, well, it's not because you are interested in the topic. You might have tried to process all of the information at once. Instead, read strategically and look for keywords that indicate the direction in which the passage is moving. Let's take a look. First, did you notice "however" here in the paragraph? Its purpose is twofold: to speak to a population explosion that didn't occur, and a following population trend inconsistent with what had been predicted. The topic is the population boom that didn't occur, a paradox. What's the scope? A quick scan of paragraphs 1 and 2 confirms what you probably suspected: explanations for that paradox. Remember that the author's purpose isn't necessarily revealed until the very end, so don't jump too far ahead. Instead, let's first discuss what you discovered after reading through the entire passage. To begin with, paragraph 1 introduced the population boom that didn't occur and the scientists who are puzzled by this mystery. Paragraph 2 explains the theory offered up by biologists. Specifically, biologists analogize human trends to animal trends. And the purpose of paragraph 3? It introduces the critics, arguably sociologists, who seem to be concerned with social attitudes. The critics' theory is explained in the third paragraph. There's the passage's purpose: to explain two competing scientific perspectives on the population phenomenon introduced in paragraph 1. Recall that the phenomenon was how the Malthusian boom did not occur. Let's now discuss questions about this passage. Start with the global questions. When attacking these questions, use your notes on the passage map, recalling topic, scope, and purpose to predict the answer. Don't go back and reread huge chunks of the passage like some of your test day competitors. Attack this question efficiently. Now, if you can't find a match to your prediction, eliminate answer choices instead. Wrong answer choices on global questions often misrepresent the scope of the passage. Here's an example of a global question. The phrase "primary purpose" indicates the global nature of this question. Take a minute, predict an answer, and attack the choices. Your prediction should be consistent with your topic, scope, purpose analysis. Look for the choice that matches that. In essence, this is your prediction. Your prediction should match answer choice D, the correct answer. None of the other four choices provides a verb phrase that captures the purpose of the passage. The author doesn't criticize. The author doesn't show why something happened. The author doesn't demonstrate how family size was influenced in the period before the Industrial Revolution. Finally, the author doesn't argue that some theories or studies are more effective than others. For detail questions, remember to use your passage map to locate the relevant text in the passage. Review that portion of the passage, then predict your answer. Take a look at this question about the Malthusian population explosion. If you referenced the text and predicted an answer, you were prepared to attack the choices, looking for a match. Malthusian explosion in population is referenced in paragraph 1, which was expected to happen after the Industrial Revolution launched and affected Western nations. That match appears in answer choice C. One particular answer choice that test takers can get tripped up on is choice B. It begins with the phrase, "It is inevitable." Fairly extreme, categorical language. Be wary of such language, especially in this case. The entire choice actually contradicts what you've learned from the passage. Staying on the theme of addressing detail questions, take a look at this one. Here's a detail except question. The approach to accept questions might take a little bit longer than the approach to other detail questions. You'll likely need to read through each answer choice. Try this one on your own. Did you characterize your answer choices? 4 wrong answers are details from the passage, while the correct answer will either contradict or go beyond the scope of the passage. You should have located the 4 wrong answers in the passage. In paragraph 2, we learned that well-fed, advantaged children who outcompete those in less advantaged families are a possible explanation to the phenomenon about average family size. Competition is, in fact, mentioned in the passage, so it's not an exception here. Choice B is wrong. Paragraph 3 speaks to the other 3 wrong answers. Line 30 mentions education extending, so choice A is wrong. The last sentence in that paragraph mentions children caring for their parents into their old age, so choice C is mentioned, and it's wrong here. And the whole 3rd paragraph is basically about changed social attitude, so D is out. And that leaves just choice E as the exception, the thing not mentioned. In fact, it contradicts the information provided in paragraph 3. A word of caution. On detail questions, never pick an answer choice just because it sounds familiar. Wrong answer choices on detail questions are often distortions of actual details in the passage. Refer back to the passage as necessary. Okay, let's discuss inference questions. Remember, the right answer will come from the passage. No need to refer to your own background and knowledge about anything. Also, it may be difficult to predict an answer to an inference question, particularly if it's one of those open-ended inference questions. As far as classic wrong answers, be wary of extreme language that exaggerates the text. Likewise, beware of distortions. These wrong answers borrow language from the text but misrepresent the meaning or significance of what the author's trying to say. Try your hand at this more difficult question. The stem asks for an example of an animal likely to have many young. Try to predict an answer so you can efficiently attack the choices. The language in the question itself guides us to paragraph 2. Since the question asks about animals, the biological explanation in paragraph 2, analogizing humans to animals, comes into play. Note any part of paragraph 2 that speaks to having many young. It's that 2nd or 3rd sentence of paragraph 2, speaking to a hostile and unpredictable environment. The answer choice that speaks to this environment is choice E. Prey for many creatures. That's the hostility. The seasonal streams. That's where the unpredictability is. It's worth noting 2 of the wrong answer choices. In choice A, the drought susceptibility phrase speaks to the unpredictability. But don't misinterpret the phrase, fiercely protected by parents. Just because parents fiercely protect their young doesn't necessarily mean that there is a hostile environment that demands that protection. In fact, if the parents are fiercely protective, they may not need to have many young anyway. The language at the end of choice B may have been attractive. If you were tempted by that language, threatened by human encroachment, you overlooked that nothing in the answer choice speaks to an unpredictable environment. Let's move on to logic questions. They can ask about one of 2 things: the function of a detail within a paragraph, or the function of a paragraph within the passage as a whole. Regardless, keep in mind that all logic questions ask for the author's purpose. They are similar to global questions in that regard, just on a smaller scale. So look for the why, not the what. Stay away from answer choices that focus too heavily on details. First, answer this question about the function of a paragraph in the context of the passage as a whole. Remember, the author's overall purpose is key here, since the function of every single paragraph is to support the purpose of the passage. When mapping the passage, you noted that the author wrote this passage to explain different perspectives on a surprising population phenomenon. Use this knowledge to confidently sidestep some tempting wrong answers here. The correct choice, A, is consistent with the big picture. It gets the tone right. If you applied your vertical scan strategy, you likely eliminated choices B and E, since the author neither criticizes nor argues. Don't let the reference to critics fool you. As for choice C, it tells you what the critics' theory does, but not why the author is citing it. And finally, for this question, the line reference guides you to the author's discussion in paragraph 3. Here, the author discusses a decrease in the importance of physical labor. Paragraph 3 also describes the critic's explanation for the population phenomenon. Recall that the phenomenon was the boom that didn't happen, the family sizes that are decreasing. Also note that the critics have a cultural perspective, emphasizing social attitudes. So, answer choice A fits that prediction perfectly. Let's discuss a couple of the wrong answer choices. Choice C distorts why the author mentions the decrease in importance of physical labor, implying that it shows how family structures adjust to meet the demands. Family structures are not of concern here. Rather, the concern should be about family size. You could have easily dismissed choice D, given the word rebut at the beginning. By now, strategic reading and passage mapping should be second nature. You've seen the payoff from such a proactive approach to reading comp. Build your competence through lots of practice identifying and handling these question types. You'll be well equipped to trounce reading comprehension come test day.